Wigan Athletic vs Everton FC 4th of the 2nd 2012 SelMckenzie Selzer-McKenzie. Author D.Selzer-McKenzie. My tip: win for Everton. This is another duel, two teams with the different ambitions, because the guests from Liverpool have very optimistically announced the fight for the 5th position in the league, which leads into the Europa League after the great triumph about the leader Manchester City centre now. Meanwhile, the local Wigan Athletic is in consequence according to a series of 4 defeats on the last position in the league, and it is obvious that a bitter fight for surviving expects this team in the course of the season. This in the Goodson Stadium. The first leg was played, ended with the 3-1 victory of the host. 2 last year's championship duels with a draw. This one ended, lasting the beginning, 4th of the 2nd 2012, 16. Of course the hosts would beat them 5 points in the delay, unsatisfied with the point. The 17 put Bolton Hiker this time, too, there, because this way they would complete the negative series. Is clear that they must play in this meeting on victory. However, the wishes are the one and something completely different, which at a distance is fewest, because the possibility the charges of the coach Martinez are in a very bad form, and this applies particularly to the attackers, who has obtained only 20 goals into 23 played rounds in the complete Premier League, though Martinez straight therefore carries out permanent rotations, and their most expensive player Rod Alagao already sits on the bench so for a long time. But it is the problem that the substitutes do not hand in any much better games. Has hurt in the last meeting its Trace de Santo, is then very likely that, this time, Moses will proceed alone at the top of the attack. If one adds that 3 offensive-oriented midfield players cited by the Chilean D.Selzer behind him, which was recently fetched into the team, Birmingham, work, lasting. The injured midfield players Thomas and Maloney, as well as Dame, which is at the Africa Cup, will be cancelled. Expected list: Wigan, Al-Habsi, Stam, Caldwell, Alcaraz, Figueroa, Watson, McCarthy, D.Selzer, Gomez, Crusat, Moses. We always knew that Everton FC, one of the most unpredictable teams in the Premier League, but we have been able to once again convince each other after 2 last rounds. When everyone has expected that the charges of Moyes' coach will come to the victory loosely in the home match against Blackburn, this duel ended without winners, and in the duel against the table leader from Manchester they then have presented their completely new side when they have pleased their fans with 3 points got hold of. It is interesting that the victory hit the former Manu player Goodson obtained, and this way it has helped its former organisation directly in the fight for the title, while the shaken self-confidence was restored by Everton to some extent. They must be very careful, because they are to guest at the last one put Wigan, though. The hosts have namely nothing to lose and therefore attack her from the first minute, while Everton still must fight with the numerous failures. 5 injured players, the midfield players Coleman, Rodwell and Osman, as well as the defending players Jagielka and Distin, will be cancelled, namely, so that experienced Neville will play of necessity on this position together with Haitinger. If one considers that he has finished off a very good job in the game against Manchester City centre, if Coach Moyes should change nothing exactly like in the rest of the team, so that at first the new entry Jelavic and the return Pina will have left at the bench. Expected list: Everton, Howard, Hibbert, Neville, Haitinger, Baines, Gibson, Fellaini, Donovan, Cahill, Drent, Struckwalasi. It one rather ungrateful tip is after the triumph of Everton via Manchester City centre, but if one considers that perhaps this is the last chance of Wigan, the last one put for to take part in the fight for surviving, then is not excluded that come the host is surprised at a possible, have a try-style aggressive game and aggressive with